Hey guys, welcome back to Roots Refuge Farm. I have a great vlog for you to watch today, but before I wanted to make a very time-sensitive announcement that our final merch pre-order of the year will be closing here in a couple of days. This is your last opportunity to buy shirts and sweatshirts with our best-selling designs on them for the rest of the year. When the pre-order closes, those will begin printing and shipping. We've brought back some of the old favorites. I'm currently wearing the I'm a Frost Tender flower right now because it's true, I am. And I love hearing stories of people who've met other passionate growers out in the wild, as well as other Roots and Refuge fans, because they've started up conversations based on the shirt that they're wearing. Thank you so much for your support and just for being here with us. We are massively appreciative of every purchase that you make, every view that you give us, every comment. We're so thankful. The link is down below. It closes November 12th and it's the last chance, so get those orders in. Let's watch the vlog. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Roots and Refuge Farm. I'm out here in my little mushroom forest area checking to see what's going on with the oyster logs. So I was pretty certain that the frost was going to wipe these out. Yeah, that one's pretty rotten and gnarly. We've got several little areas here with inoculated logs in these woods that are growing mulberry oyster mushrooms. There's a couple on these that are good. I thought the freeze was going to do them in. Probably a few. They're kind of damaged a little bit. We harvested like over 20 pounds of oyster mushrooms off of these logs already. I have no need for them. I just wanted to see if they were here. That 20 pounds freeze-dried and dehydrated, that's enough mushrooms, really. I mean, not of all. We'll still forage, we'll still grow some. But I mean, that could last us adding to soups and pastas and dishes and stuff like that for several months. That's a lot. So these are not quite good. I think I'm just gonna leave them on here. You know, whenever I first started homesteading, I would look at all these little things that you could do, like grow mushrooms or learn to make biscuits from scratch or grow a small garden, you know, like a green stalk with some lettuce in it, or, you know, your first couple raised garden beds. And I would look at all of those individual things and I would think, well, that's not going to do that much. Because I would look at my overall grocery bill and everything that my family needed. And beyond that, I mean, not just in what we ate, but what we consumed. I would look at our clothes and I would think about thrift shopping and, you know, mending things that are damaged and essentially wearing things out, you know. And I would look at all these little things and I would think, yeah, but I want to be a homesteader. Like, I want to be self-sufficient. I want to I would have this idea of what that would look like, and it was very idealistic and romantic and picturesque. There was a real aesthetic to it. And then I would look at all the individual components and I'd be like, but that's not the same thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I want to do this extreme thing. So these are not what these logs are inoculated with. I think these are the train wrecker logs. I'm not sure, they haven't fruited yet, but these are just some random wild mushrooms growing on the end. They look a little like turkey tails, but they're not turkey tails. They've got gilled backs. They're pretty though. I want to inoculate all the logs. I want to have all the different kinds of mushrooms. These are the other oyster logs. You know, they might end up fruiting again in these warm days. I'm not really sure. I just love photographing mushrooms. I think they're so cool. I like eating them too, though. I can't say I just like photographing them. I like photographing them and consuming them and growing them and hunting them and learning about them, which I'm still doing in a big way. So now that I've been homesteading, you know, we use that term. I like how a lot of people... Sorry guys, I almost dropped you. Alright, you're secure now. I I like how a lot of people have been doing it for a long time, you know, people who have, you know, grew up in this life. They're like, we didn't call it homesteading, we just called it living. And I like that. You know, now I think the term gets thrown around, it's been coined, and in a lot of ways it's being packaged and sold. But now that this is so thoroughly our life on a lot of levels, I realize that each tiny little thing, though standing alone might not seem to make a massive difference, all added together is how you have layers of resilience in your life. And resilience is just this concept of being able to withstand hardship, to not be easily defeated, to take a hit and keep moving. And with resilience, if your goal is resilience, then you value each little thing. Like, for instance, here's a really good example. Okay, let's see if I can show you guys. Y'all see these boots? So people always ask me, they're like, where'd you get those boots? I bought these boots a jillion years ago. I've had them for a really long time, 10 plus years ago. And I've taken these boots in, I've had them repaired multiple times, I've waxed them, and they're no longer waterproof. They leak now. But these silly boots, which they're my favorite, they're so comfortable. I slip them on regularly when I want to run outside. I wear them regularly. They're broke down, and they're my farm boots. And the fact that I am making the most out of these, and I love shoes, I have multiple pairs of shoes, but the fact that I'm making the most out of these boots, to me, is one little pinpoint of resilience in the overall picture of the resilience of my life. The fact that we have established this place that we can come get mushrooms out of our woods, you know, like, you're not necessarily going to live on mushrooms, but the fact that I have a year's worth of dehydrated and freeze-dried mushrooms that I can add to my dishes for the next year, that's a layer of resilience. The garden is a layer of resilience. And now, every time that we're doing something, it just incites this feeling of pride and security in me and accomplishment. You know, when I'm digging potatoes and I'm thinking about how many meals that these potatoes are going to round out. And it's just layers of resilience. Whenever we're raising meat, we raise ducks and processing them, and we're getting the meat and we're saving all the fat scraps, and I come in and I render them down and I have this duck fat. Layers of resilience. And it's really given me the frame that I needed to value the small efforts, because a lot of times you can't do everything. I mean, we've really been consistently pursuing of this life for, you know, it's been about 15 plus years for me. And before that, I was learning about it. I was fascinated in it, but really actively doing the things for me, gosh, 15 to 18 years, I guess, at this point. I would count it as 18, because when Jackson was born is when I really started learning about natural mothering stuff, cloth diapers and all of that. That's a while. And I wish that from the beginning I had that turn your waiting room into a classroom mentality. And beyond that, turn your waiting room into a classroom is great, because it gives you something to do now. But even beyond that, begin layering resilience into your life now. And you can do that no matter where you are. You don't have to have 25 acres to begin layering resilience into your life. Skills give you resilience. Knowledge gives you resilience. Collecting tools gives you resilience. Making the most out of your boots gives you resilience. And so, like, grasping that mentality genuinely is so empowering. And I came out here to look in the woods, and I was just, as I was coming out here, I was thinking, what a cool layer of resilience it is to have this established and continuing to establish it, because we want to have lots of different kinds of mushrooms out here, and that's cool. That's medicine, that's food, and it's resilience. This is the little pasture behind the mushroom woods. We are in peak fall color in the Midlands of South Carolina right now. Isn't it lovely? We still have a lot of green because pines, you know, I mean, this is pine country. And so we have a lot of pines around here. But all of the deciduous trees are looking fiery these days. I call it burning week when they're all burning bushes. I also can't help but laugh when I see all the trees going bare. Do y'all know, I'm going to tell the story every year for the rest of forever, as long as I'm making content. Whenever, years ago, when my YouTube channel was fairly new, like it was starting to take off. And I remember getting this one comment, and this person was scathing, and they were like, I just can't listen to you talk about sustainability and stewarding the earth whenever in the short period of time that I've been watching you, every tree on your property has died. And I don't understand how you're not concerned that whatever you're doing has killed all your trees. That should be alarming to you, or something like that. Like, it was very like critical and scathing, and like, how dare you, and I can't believe that you're not alarmed. And when people are accusatory to me, I always just respond with like, no, I can't say always, sometimes I'm a sassy girl, but I mostly try to respond with grace and by just teaching. Like, if somebody accuses me and they're misunderstood, like, I'll just be like, actually, here's the truth. And I responded and said something along the lines of like, you must not live where deciduous trees grow. It's winter and the leaves fall off. They're not dead. They'll be back. Like, it's just so funny because I remember they were like, you're so irresponsible. And so now every time the leaves start falling, I'm like, so irresponsible. Alright, I came over here. I wanted to show you guys this. So, let's see. There's our barn. So this is the other side of, like, a lot of times I'll film over here where the gate is by our house. But this treed area is where I was telling you guys that we want to build a fence and put a structure and do the goat yard back here. And we'll probably include just a little bit of this grassy area because this is really nice. I think that this is just Bermuda grass right here, which is awful in a garden, but is actually lovely to have in pasture. So it's why we have so much of it in our garden, because our garden used to be a cow pasture. But yeah, I figured that this would be a good goat area because we have brushy undergrowth and the trees for shade and some grass. Oh, it's allergy season. It's such a beautiful time of year. I sneeze constantly. So a little update. I'm pretty sure I have found some goats. I will not be getting them until February. My friend Cass over at St. Bojo Homestead, she's the one I've been getting goat's milk from and really enjoying. She has mini Nubians and Nigerian dwarves, and I knew I like Nigerian dwarves. I enjoy them. I think that they're like some of the cutest goats that exist. But Jeremiah did tell me that he would prefer I did not get Nigerian dwarfs. He has really big hands and he has a hard time milking them. And I have had them in the past. And he's like, if you're going to need my help ever, like if you're going to go out of town and I need to milk the goats, he was like, I need you to get bigger goats than that. So Cass called a friend of hers, and basically he is like super serious about biosecurity. I was really nervous to end up with potentially, ending up with disease. That was one of my biggest things. Whenever you're searching for goats, I would highly recommend. Now, if you want just like budget animals and you don't really care that much about biosecurity and you're just trying to do it absolutely on the cheap, that's fine. What I'm seeing and looking on like Craigslist and Facebook pages is a lot of people are wanting to charge $400 or $500 for does, which is, if I'm spending $400 or $500 for a doe, I want her disease tested. I want her to be from pretty decent lines. I mean, I don't necessarily need paperwork, but for me, the benefit of somebody that's going through the trouble of registering their goats is that they're probably going through the trouble of keeping them healthy. I don't mind unregistered. That's not a deal breaker for me. There are a lot of animals out there that are potentially sick. Just because they're cheap, just because they're unregistered, does not mean that they're sick. But if a person is not going through the trouble of registering, if you ask for disease testing, they're probably going to tell you, we don't do anything like that. That may not be a deal breaker for you. Drinking raw milk, I want to make sure that my animals, that they're healthy and that there's no disease. I'm not terribly concerned about the risks, but it's just smart to me to do that. And then also, I don't want to spend $500 on an animal that's going to have health problems and then need vet issues. So that's the one thing that I've been like, I'm not going to compromise on, and that's why I was like, it might take a little while. I've had several people ask, what are you looking for? More than anything, healthy animals. But anyway, my friend Cass has a goat keeping friend, the person who's mentored her and she called him and he had a resource, and so no money's changed hands, so I can't say for sure that it's guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure that I've secured a few Nubians that I'm going to be able to get in February. So the very impatient part of me wants to be like, I want goats now, but when I told Jeremiah, I just saw the relief flood his face, because it's just something else that we can kind of push back on the list of not having to do it right now, because I want to build a solid fence. I don't want to rush it. I told you guys that. Don't want to do it impulsively. I don't want to rush it. So I think that that's there, and I'm telling you guys because I told you I'd let you in the process. And for me, having access to a person that he already went and blood tested this herd, so I know they're healthy. Like, I'm not having to go off somebody's word, you know, like, that's trying to make the money. Like, he's not making any money. He's buying some goods from them. So he did the blood test. They're clear, and they said they were going to have a 2 or 3 that would be available in milk in February. I'm excited about that. And so this is where I think that will be. I think I'll probably just make a separate video going so it's not stuck in the middle of a vlog and like hard to find, but as a resource, like, just say, what do you look for? Because I've had several people say I'm looking and I have no clue what to look for, and I will like line that up, because you have to take a lot of considerations, like in breeds, and then also, you know, things like horns, things like disease testing. Another thing is whether you want to get them like babies, bottle babies, or pregnant, or in milk, or what age, and all of that different stuff. I've seen a few on Craigslist, man, looking that I'm like, good Lord, that animal probably needs to be put down. Everybody has their different standards. There's the standard of like, okay, this is a good homestead animal, that obviously it's not going to be shown. Like, there's attachment, which is like how their udder is attached to their body. And I saw this one doe that I just felt so bad for her. Like, her udder was like, literally her teats were like 2 inches away from dragging on the ground. And I'm thinking, no, okay, she doesn't necessarily have to be put down, but she needs to be dried off and put out on a pasture to retire. Like, she does not need to be bred to continue making milk for a family. It's just, it's cruel at that point. So anyway, I'll probably make a separate video kind of outlining that more fully for anybody who is looking for goats, because it's hard to make the decision, especially when you don't know what you're looking for. And I think a lot of people end up, when they're looking for animals, then they're trying to consider budget, and they're trying to consider skill level, and they're trying to consider the breeds that they saw on YouTube and that they liked, and they're trying to take all these things into consideration. Unfortunately, people who don't have experience end up with the stinker animals, and then they have a bad experience, and then they think that they failed. And yeah, so I'll cover that more clearly. That's a good idea for a video. Oh, look at this sad garden. A lot of change in just a week and a half, huh? So obviously this is a wreck right now, and it's going to be a wreck for a little while longer. So we'll continue getting it cleaned out and then come and actually clean it up. But I have pretty well decided not to pursue planting a ton in here over this winter. I mean, what I did plant already got really frost damaged by that freeze being harder than we expected. I am excited this cilantro is growing. That's nice. But my thought is that I'm going to just focus on the high tunnels and then rest this. And then I'll probably plant some spring stuff out here in like February and then move into next gardening season strong. I do have some things that may recover in here, but a lot of the stuff I planted got very frost damaged. And we're going to work on infrastructure. That's really the focus of the next few months. Well guys, today is Jackson's 18th birthday, so we're going to be celebrating that. I am going to go take him out to lunch, and then we're going to give him his birthday gift, and my brother's here, so we're going to have a really sweet day, I think. But first I wanted to take a little walk with you guys. I'd love for you to ponder more about the idea of resilience, and you know, celebrate the areas of your life where you have already been able to obtain that. Look for areas that you can currently obtain it and dream about ones that you hope to in the future. Thank you for hanging out with me today and all the days that you do. God bless you. Until next time.